My 16 aunt, 33, lives with my family. She has me drive her around and refuses to sit in the front passenger seat because she wants to act like it's a taxi and chauffeur situation, which is crappy of her, but I haven't said anything. The other day we were driving through a restaurant drive-through and it was packed. The parking lot was full. My aunt got out of the car while we were in the drive-through and I asked what the hell she was doing. She told me she was getting claustrophobic and I told her to stay in the car so she doesn't get hit by another car. My reasoning for saying this is she wanted to walk close to the actual road to smoke, where traffic's busy. You know, normal road. She ignored me and got out anyway, so when I pulled up to the drive-through window, I got out and put child lock on the back doors. I did this because my aunt has done this several times before, has almost gotten hit when she does it, and once had her foot run over by a car because she does it. Which, by the way, she blamed on me even though another car ran over her foot. I got her food, my aunt gets back in, we get on the main road, it's a traffic jam. My aunt tries getting out of the car again and finds that she's child locked. She starts screaming and cussing at me, calling me a little idiot and screaming at me to let her out. So when we could pull over again, I pulled over, let her out, and told her she could call someone else for a ride home. I left her at a gas station. I got home, and my parents asked where my aunt was. I explained what happened, my mom told me I was in the right, and my dad flipped his crap. He told me to go out and pick her back up, and I told him to pick her up himself, because I'm done driving her around, because she acts like a toddler. He decided it was appropriate to call me a spoiled idiot before leaving to pick her up. Am I the idiot for child locking my aunt and then leaving her at a gas station? Not the idiot. If I were your parent, I'd be upset, but not with you. Driving at 16, you should be able to give your full attention to the road and your own developing driving skills, not having to deal with passenger crap or being distracted. She should treat you with gratitude for driving her, also, in my opinion, and model responsible adult behavior all around. You're in the home stretch to adulthood, and these drives could be such an opportunity for you both. She's the failure here. Good luck with dad. I remember when my brother kicked me out of the car when I was 16, he was 18, because we were arguing and he left me at a bus stop. To be fair, I probably deserved it. My parents made him pick me back up. I'm now your aunt's age and if I've read it right, she wanted to keep getting out to smoke. Also, can't she drive? If so, can't she drive herself? She's a bit, understatement, immature for acting like that and shouldn't be calling you every name under the sun. Your car, your rules. You're also trying to keep her safe. Not the idiot. Not the idiot. It sounds like your aunt was scaring you and you did what you had to do to protect her and yourself. She obviously isn't learning if she got her foot ran over and keeps doing it. I'm not sure if there's something wrong with her, maybe she's got some mental illness issues or a disability, but she's still responsible for her actions. If she really gets claustrophobic, from experience I can tell you usually the backseat of a car is way worse than the front seat. I own a mid-size cafe in a touristy town in a non-English speaking European country, so a lot of my customers are tourists, but we're also extremely popular with the locals and surrounding businesses, which is a blessing during these times, as there are basically no tourists with the virus. To the extent where no matter the season it is very rare we aren't full. This is not to toot my own horn, but rather to make it clear that the waitresses and cooks are busy as all hell even during these times and need to be clearly told if someone can't have something. Now a few days ago a man, his wife and their kid enter at about 5 p.m, takeout order, since you need to reserve to sit as we got limited space due to restrictions. The woman was wearing a headscarf so pretty clear they were Muslims, but I do the cooking, so I am not at the front. Well, their order comes in and they order 3 sandwiches, 2 of which have bacon. To be entirely clear, the menu has the ingredients behind each item on there in our language, English and German, so unless you do not know what bacon is or didn't read, there is no way to miss it. Also, it is not a thing in my country to have waiting staff explain an order, unless it's not on the menu, seasonal stuff, specials etc. We closed at 6 p.m, and just before closing I hear yelling from the front as we are cleaning up. This guy is behaving highly aggressive, yelling and cursing in English and some other language, and I had to spend a good 5 minutes calming him down. When he told me what had happened, he demanded a refund and new sandwiches. He insisted he had told the waitress about his and his family's food restrictions and that she had explained the order to him, which was what made me doubt his story. I asked the waitress what had happened, and she said he was full of crap, and like with everyone he went up to the front cash register, which we are using as the takeout spot, told her his order, and waited until he got it like everyone else. Obviously I trust my staff over customers, so having had issues with tourists a lot in the past, I had cameras with sound installed. I told the guy I was going to check them, which caused him to go on another full-scale meltdown, at which point I was fresh out of patience, and I told him to get the hell out, and him and his family were banned from the establishment. The reason I am asking for judgment is because I have since gotten 2 bad reviews referencing this occurrence, and my mom also said it was primarily on the waitress for being dumb, as Muslim dietary restrictions are common knowledge. So they expect a waitress to make an assumption about their religion and diet based on their clothing. They are literally asking her to bad profile them. The best one can do in such a situation is ask, does anyone in your family have dietary restrictions we should be aware of? But then you should ask with all customers, and that's another hellhole you don't want to open up. If people have restrictions, they should flat out say so when ordering, and also not be dumb enough to order something with bacon. Not the idiot. Not the idiot. It's on the person with dietary restrictions to ask questions. I'm allergic to raw egg products, so basically mayonnaise. Unlike bacon, mayo is not typically a listed item on the menu, so I have to specifically ask, does the sandwich have mayo, or order something I'm pretty sure they'd never put mayo on. If I don't, and I get a mayonnaise sandwich, well, that's my screw up to deal with, and I'm not about to whine out a waitress for not magically knowing I can't eat what I ordered. Not the idiot. I'm glad you trust your employees over customers. Not a lot of management does that. And the cameras with sound wonderful. Can you reply to the reviews? Some review sites let the owners or representatives give responses. I would highly suggest pointing out the lying and aggression of this customer. I don't know about your business, but the bakery I work at, if people are nice, I fix customer mess ups for free or reduced price if I can. Kindness is powerful. Being rude and lying gets people nowhere. I'm getting married next year, and we want my fiance's 6-year-old niece to be our flower girl. She is autistic, and when she's excited or there's a lot going on, she often fidgets, chews on things, flaps her hands, picks at things, and jumps. She also occasionally makes humming and popping noises. She doesn't have huge problems with social situations, and her parents and therapist are confident she won't get overwhelmed. She's extremely excited about the wedding and for being a flower girl. Every time we see her, she talks about it. When my family met her for the first time, my parents took me aside and quietly suggested she might be overwhelmed by the wedding and we should reconsider her being a flower girl or even attending. I told them big social events haven't been a problem for her before, and her parents and therapist believe she'll be fine, but that there's a small lounge she can go to if necessary. They then admitted they were worried about her bothering or distracting people with her movements or noises. The words my mum used were annoying and weird. Later it turned out my dad had also mentioned their concerns to her parents. Her dad had snapped at him, and my dad got mad and using a slur to refer to her behavior. He apologized immediately and said he was just stressed and angry and blurted it out, but I'm appalled he would even think to say that, especially about a child. I told them off for it, and they haven't said much about it since, apart from the occasional "we do think you should reconsider." However, her parents are very involved in helping us plan, so we see her a lot, and whenever she starts making noise my parents tell her to try and do it quieter, and I've caught my mum telling her not to flap her hands. They try to justify it by saying they want my wedding to be perfect and they don't want people to be distracted. In one conversation we were talking about our color scheme, and I mentioned that the flowers we'd chosen for her to carry would match nicely with the chewable dinosaur necklace she wears, and in front of her, my dad said she couldn't wear the necklace because it was ugly and she'd look ridiculous, which made her cry. Her doctors, therapists, etc. have all said that her behaviors shouldn't be discouraged. Even though I've explained to my parents that messing with her ways of emotional regulation is likely to cause an outright meltdown, they won't stop discouraging her behaviors. We're considering giving them the ultimatum that if they don't stop I'll disinvite them. It's a drastic thing to do, as I really do want my parents there and they're excited to see their only child get married. They're pretty stubborn people and might attempt to continue doing it anyway, but less obviously, at which point I'd have to actually disinvite them. Would I be the idiot? Not the idiot. Whose wedding is it? Yours. Are you bothered by it? No. Tell them you'll be sure she's not at either of their future weddings. I personally have Tourette's and have trouble controlling my movement sometimes. I had issues in all of my sister's weddings, and nobody said a damn thing, and nobody thought I ruined anything. I know, not the same thing, but involuntary movements are something a lot of people deal with. If they had a heart and a soul, they would see that. Not the idiot. My little sister is autistic and has similar behaviors. She was a bridesmaid at our wedding. If anyone had ever said anything like what your parents said, they would have been immediately disinvited, and it would be a long time until I spoke to them again, if ever. It's your and your fiancé's wedding day. It's 100% your choice who you have in and at your wedding. Your parents seem to have serious issues both with fear of being embarrassed and with control, as they cannot accept your decision. Not the idiot. Tell your parents you and the groom love this little girl and very much want her in your wedding party. That you are well aware of her behavior, and while it may not be your typical wedding, it will be the one you want. On the other hand, their behavior has been embarrassing. You can't believe how they think it's okay to bully a little girl. And you hope that they can improve, as you would hate to look back at your wedding and think it is perfect, except mom and dad picking on a darling girl. My husband and I have a 4-year-old. I love her to pieces, she's my little potato, but every parent knows the struggle of having to share everything you eat with your kid. Whenever she sees me eating, she wants some. 99.9% of the time I share with her because it's not a huge deal. Today I had an awful day at work, so I picked up some food from my favorite restaurant on the way home. I just wanted to lay down and enjoy my fries. I try to hide it, but kiddo barges into the room and wants my food. This time I didn't feel like sharing with her, so I told her no. Kiddo gets increasingly upset, starts crying and throwing a tantrum, but I just tell her that mommy had a rough day and she can eat one of her snacks in the cupboard if she's hungry. She'd already eaten dinner, and try to explain that people don't always have to share with her. I remain totally calm and try to leave the room. Husband comes in and gets mad that I'm not sharing and causing our kid to have a meltdown. I'm like, seriously? Can I just enjoy my favorite food in peace after a rough day? Apparently not, and I'm an idiot for not sharing. Long story short, kid ends up getting my fries and I end up crying in the bathroom feeling like an awful mom for being angry about it. My husband says that it's not a big deal to share and says I'm an idiot for not sharing. He told me that kids are better at sharing than I am. I told him that I deserve to enjoy one meal by myself in the comfort of my bed after having a god-awful day, and we don't want to teach our daughter that she gets whatever she wants when she wants it. So now we're both angry at each other. Am I the idiot here? Everyone's the idiot here, and I do mean everyone. Even though your child's poor behavior is entirely your fault, she doesn't get a pass for throwing a tantrum. Let's see here, you've spent years teaching your daughter to expect to receive a portion of everything you eat, check. She didn't get what she wanted and threw a tantrum, check. Husband comes into the middle and works exactly counter to everyone's long-term best interests for the sake of immediate peace and quiet, check. He calls you names on top of it all. Then you give in to the child's demand. Crash and burn. Yep, that's everyone. Not the idiot. The way I see it, 4-year-olds throw tantrums over the smallest, sometimes the stupidest, reasons. I've seen many memes about this, like for example a toddler crying because he has to share the seat on a shopping cart with his brother. In my eyes, the 4-year-old was just being a 4-year-old, throwing a huge tantrum over a few little fries. You share your food with your kid all the time. This time, you just wanted to eat something without sharing. No, that doesn't make you an idiot. Everyone's the idiot here. Or nobody is. Parenting is hard. Being a kid is hard. Being the other parent is hard. All of it screws. There is no right way, good way, only way. You get through one day and then you repeat the next. I'm sorry you had a rough day. In the future, just bring home special food with enough extra. They might have just eaten, but it's a 100% guaranteed fact, if you don't bring home extra, people will want some. Then you'll have a repeat of this again. Next time bring home extra, dump their part and then go hide in the bathroom with your portion and cry or relax alone for 5. It was supposed to be my brother's, 14, turn to do the dishes, and he either forgot or completely disregarded about it, so I, 16, had to clean up a sink and dishes at 9 p.m. plus. I noticed some sound coming from the cabinets and realized that there were trash in the small gap between them towards the back. So I found myself a thin stick and tried to clear the things out. There were much trash inside: potato chip wrappers, sweets wrappers, some unknown wrappers with stain, rubber bands, tissue paper, and biggest of all, a crushed cereal box. To my horror, I saw a whole nest of large cockroaches coming out from the cereal box. I am terrified of cockroaches, and our kitchen had been free of them since recently. Guess I know where they came from now. With a scream, I tossed the box away from me, and out came at least 5 cockroaches. There were more coming out from the cabinet gaps too. All that trash made a good nest. I stormed to my brother's room and pulled him up from his game, demanded to have him clean all that crap up. He isn't afraid of cockroaches. He initially refused, but reluctantly came when I insisted. When he picked up the cereal box, without warning he threw it at me and it landed on my face, and with it the cockroaches running down my hair and clothes. Here comes the idiot part. I had a complete meltdown as I screamed my lungs out till my throat gave in, and not even my parents could hush me when they came. When I finally calmed down, we heard knocking at our door as our concerned neighbors called the cops after hearing my screams. My parents were very embarrassed, and after the cops left blamed me for overreacting. I pointed out that it was my brother who did not do his dishes, stuffed trash into the cabinet gaps resulting in cockroaches, and threw them at me when he knew I am scared of them. Furthermore, I couldn't control it, I lost it. They don't buy that and just kept scolding and blaming me as my brother laughed from the side. I had to take a shower and bury myself in bed crying. Am I the idiot? I sure hope not, but if I am, then at least I know I deserved it. Not the idiot. Your brother and parents are idiots. My elder sibling had a huge fear of roaches. One time my parents tried pranking them by throwing a roach at them. They screamed and cried hysterically. My parents tried to say they were overreacting, but I backed my sibling. My parents knew about her fear and still did a nasty prank. In the end, my mom did apologize and hugged my sibling with a promise to never do it again. Your idiot brother threw a cereal box full of roaches at you. I would have shrieked too and beat the ever-loving crap out of him. Your parents and brother are absolutely the idiots in this situation. You could even call what they did emotional abuse. Absolutely not your fault. I would have done the same thing. I'm terrified of roaches. I'd keep your distance for a few days, if only to prove a point. You may want to start keeping track of things such as derogatory comments and other incidents. It can help you see if this is an isolated incident or they have a pattern of toxic behavior. If you decide to confront them, that will also assist you in proving your case. Not the idiot. Being an idiot requires that you consciously decide to do something. Being unable to control your phobia doesn't qualify. Furthermore, your brother is a complete idiot. Throwing a box full of cockroach at anyone is an idiot move, much less someone he knows is phobic. Much less when the box full of cockroach only exists because he's been shirking his crap for months. Much less when this is either just a prank, bro, or retaliation for calling him on his crap.